So NNPCL, we know them as an entity that is bedeviled with opaqueness. So for Adams Oshiomhole to be speaking up on behalf of Nigerians, and now instead of senators to support the cause, I'll be able to hold NNPCL accountable, at least for the first time. What were they doing? They pick the person who is fighting for the citizen, threw him under the bus. If they silence him now, that's the end. You won't hear anything again, because Adams Oshiomhole, who is speaking out, is now being silenced. By the time the Senate has disowned him and requesting him to withdrew what he said about that the organization is an enterprise of criminals and thieves. So what remains? And the reason the probe will be cut short is because a lot of beneficiaries of NNPC are in the National Assembly, obviously. The man who is making an allegation from NNPCL that they are offering, sending letters of their children to be given job offers, the man is saying fast. He can't come and prove that allegation before them in their own building. No, he knows what he's saying. So they don't want to be exposed that they are among those who their children are, given jobs, because it will go deeper into contrast. It will also go deeper into those that have oil blocks. Hello, my people. Welcome to my channel. This is Andy Media TV. You can see what is going on in the Nigerian political space. And I think the National Assembly is beginning to wake up a little bit in terms of their oversight function. For quite some time now, nobody cares about what goes on in the country. President sending requests for for loan approval, it is done. This one comes on National Assembly, it is done. They are busy creating electoral law that favors them and all of that. And they threw away their oversight function. They don't, summon MDAs to find out how they expended their budget, go to project side like it used to be. I remember those days. Senators, House of Rep members, they go to project sites based on, what is in the budget. So they visit MDAs, tour the project site to see for themselves where the CapEx, the capital expenditure, money is going into. But these days, everybody is a politician, plotting for 2027, how to come back and all of that. That's exactly what they were doing. Nobody cares about development. And every day loans are coming in. Nobody knows where they are going to. I remember one analysis that P2B did, that all the loans that have been collected in terms of for infrastructural development, less than half of that money really went to infrastructural development. So where were others? Where did they go to? Probably they have been used for the current expenditure. Who knows? And government did not say anything. But National Assembly keep approving. I think there's another request for $5 billion dollars that they are asking for right now by the executive. So these are where National Assembly, when I call them the 10th Assembly, the most useless assembly, that's exactly what I mean, because they don't perform their responsibilities. Their job is to appropriate money. Their job is to make laws. Their job is to carry oversight. These are the three key functions that they are supposed to do. But they appropriate money because it favors them in the name of constituency projects. They make laws. The laws also favors them, like the electoral law, right? But when they come to oversight, which is the core of, which is what makes them a legislature, overseeing what the executive is doing, they fail. But recently, they woke up from their slumber and began to look into some, MDAs, that's ministry departments and agencies of government. The other day, we saw Senator Justice Okala and his crew looking into Southeast Development Commission, where they brought up a lot of allegations and request them to go back and come with correct information. They claim that the SCDC, Southeast Development Commission, rented a one-room apartment for 153 million, naira. A few days ago, I just watched another video. Somebody went in there to do investigative journalism and found out that the money, 153 million, naira, the National Assembly is claiming was spent on a one-room apartment in Abuja as office for the SCDC, was not true. That the money was spent for the entire building. But the building has a basement, where when you come in to submit your letters or correspondence and all of that, that's where you go. That's the only place people are allowed to go to submit whatever documentation they came for, and they will receive it there. Then the other part of the building is where they have the offices, the conference room, and so much and so forth. So I saw the video of the building. I saw the guy was inside videoing different locations of the building. They were even having a meeting and stuff like that. So because it doesn't really make sense. There's no place in Abuja, even if it's at Sokoro, you will rent one-room apartment for 153 million. It's ridiculous. When I saw that video, when Justice Okala and his crew was kind of trying to intimidate, the young man, I was laughing. Because let me tell you guys, all these things you see National Assembly do on camera, they are for the ops. That's what it is. Behind the scene, that's why at times you hear them say, let's have a closed door meeting. That's when they send all the cameras away, all the press away. they will now interface with those people and negotiate. That is how it works. So all those things you see on camera, the banter, they are just for the ops, camera ops, for Nigeria to see that they are working. But at the end of the day, issues are settled behind closed doors. So the fact remains that it's good for them to do their oversight so that those agencies will know that somebody is watching. That is the point. It's also good doing those banters on camera. That's fine. But what is more good is if they really do that job and make sure that they nip in the bud all these anomalies that is going on in the ministry, departments, and agencies of government. That is their job to do. So doing all those ops and not, dealing with the main problem, it doesn't help anybody. That is the point. Now, moving from the SEDC, the Southeast Development Commission, there is Northeast Development Commission, is there. There is Niger Delta, Commission, and NDDC is there. So now it's only Southeast Development Commission, which is even created new. So if you go to NDDC, it's even worse. Go to schools, abandoned projects everywhere. They are awarding new ones. That's corruption personified. Remember the Ababios when he was the minister of NDDC. Remember they off your mic. Remember when he was trying to open up the National Assembly, what they do with NDDC and their budget. They now ask him to off your mic. They centrally off his mic at that time because he was trying to open up how they allocate NDDC project to themselves. Yes. And that's why they are not done. They collect the money. They don't do the job. They quickly off his mic. Remember that video, off your mic, off your mic. So this is a part of what we are saying. So it's not about coming on camera, attacking the young guy that is heading the Southeast Development Commission. And at the end, everything goes to sleep. So, but I can, from the video I watched, it makes more sense than claiming that a room and parlor, one bedroom is rented for 153 million. It doesn't really make sense. Now, the second leg of this conversation will be on the committee that is, querying the NNPCL about the missing 210 trillion as per the audited report that was done on them. So you will see how Adams Oshiomhole was vocal, speaking up and, trying to make sure they get the GMD of NNPC, the former GMD, Kyari, who headed that position for quite a long time. It was there during Buhari's regime. It was partly there during Tinubu's regime before Tinubu fired every other person and left him. And later, he was now, fired. But the fact remains that how did they get to the point of 210 trillion? I recall, Senator Wadada, at that time in the National Assembly, I remember how he was speaking and talking about this whole thing. The money is so humongous. Imagine 210 trillion in people's pocket. Just think about it. That's why we are where we are. Corruption is a very, very endemic. The air Nigerian breed is corruption. That is the honest truth. So it doesn't matter how much is missing, whether it's 210 trillion or not. It doesn't matter, but some money is missing based on the audited report. So, well, we will see how those games play out at the end of the day. But before I go into full details of all this, if you are new to this channel, please kindly like and share this video and also subscribe to my channel and put on the notification bell so that when my next new video drop, you'll be among those that will be notified. Okay? All right. So now let's play this video to see why Adams Oshiomhole did what he did, why he was speaking and called the NNPCL, that is Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited. Before they were NNPC, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. Now they are Nigerian National Petroleum, Company Limited, NNPCL. Now, this hub has been the bedrock of Nigeria oil sector, right? So it's not about today. NNPC have been known as a center of corruption. Nigeria knows that. There's no Nigeria that didn't know that. Only the children of the privilege works there. They allocate positions to themselves. Governors bring their list, senators bring their list, ministers, and all of that. That's what they do. And it wasn't hidden. If you watch the video, you will understand why Adams Oshiomhole sparked in that committee meeting on that day. Let's watch the video. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Now head to the Senate, where Edo North Senator Adams Oshiomhole got into a dramatic, fiery interaction with a former financial officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, Umar Issa, where he called for the immediate arrest of the NNPC's past group CEO, Mele Kyari. Well, according to Oshiomhole on Wednesday, Kyari must be brought before the Senate Committee on Public Accounts, dead or alive, to answer questions about what happened to 210 trillion naira in unaccounted funds between 2017 and 2023. Let's take a look.
NNPC has no reputation. Your reputation is for fraud. How can you sit us to our face and you say people want their children to be
because you're a senator does not mean you should sit here and be abusing.
You think we are
the whole
children?
people in NNPCL and us here.
Mr. Chairman, we need to make no wait. Don't do that. Wait. When the senator has the floor, please allow me to land, and I will land nicely. I listen. I hear you say people want their children to be employed in NNPC. Yes, because it's a house of thieves. And they want their children to benefit from it. Yeah, so you don't say those things. Number two, because of the way in which the country and certain institutions have been run, they see themselves as bigger than Nigeria. I hold the view that the law is effective when it catches a lion, not when you descend on a rat or a rabbit, a man who stole a rat or a rabbit. And that is the crisis of Nigeria. Mr. Chairman, this committee must have the courage, the will, to deploy its powers as enunciated in the Nigerian Constitution and issue warrant, not tomorrow, today, and bring Mary Akari, even dead or alive, in law. They will call habeas corpus. Even if he's dead, we want to see the body. And he will account. And you should say, here lies a man who died without accounting for his alleged crime that rose into trillions of naira. We are not talking of billions of naira. At the time when the country is borrowing money, we have huge sources of money that have not been accounted for. There are serious issues not raised by laymen, raised by competent auditors. And the man is joking. Where did he have the money to pay for his medical bill in Germany? Those who are dying here, what happens to them? So I think that it is not for us to try to amend the rules that we have already agreed on. Having failed repeatedly, a serious failure.
Mr. President, Senate is also aware that during deliberations on the matter, comments were attributed to distinguished Senator Adams Oshiomhole, describing NNPC Limited as, quote, a bunch of criminals and thieves, unquote. The Senate is also aware that the Senate, as an institution established under the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is bound at all times to conduct its proceedings in accordance with the principles of natural justice, fairness, objectivity, parliamentary responsibility and decorum, and respect for the rule of law.
With regards to my use of the word thieves, I acted under provocation because your distinguished members were being attacked unjustly, and I thought I have a duty to defend all of us. Under extreme provocation that a man who cannot account for 107 trillion he claimed I deposited in various banks that have gone into liquidation. He did not name the banks. He did not name the amount. And the auditor said, this is not correct. Not my opinion. That is the auditors. 9 times on your authority, we invited them. 9 times he did not show up. So is that an embarrassment to me or to you?
All right. Welcome back. You saw what transpired. Adams Oshiomhole was angry because the member of the NNPCL, I think is the finance person, was speaking and, alleging there on the floor of the Senate that most of them in the National Assembly, they bring list for NNPC to give their children jobs. That's allegation, serious allegation. Is it true or false? Obviously, we know it's true. It's been happening. We've even seen some letters there that leaked out, where Senator will write, put names of 5, 10 people and say they should give job to them. So what about us who doesn't have senator that knows us? Who doesn't have governor? Who doesn't have anybody in government? Who gives us job? We are on our own. That's how Nigeria functions. Who you know determines where you be. And that is what P2B's vision is, to change Nigeria to a state that a child of nobody will become something without knowing anybody. And that's how country was. You go to US, you don't need to know President Trump to become anything. Just have the skill, apply for it, you meet the requirement, they take you. It doesn't matter your color. You are there. And you prove yourself. And you make it. That's why abroad is better and easier for people. When they move in there, somebody who is not in the country where he's coming from, he goes there, becomes something, because there's a fair playing field for everybody. Acquire the skill, showcase yourself, they take you, you prove it there, and you are there. That's it. But in our own country, you must know one governor or one senator or somebody, or one DG or one minister who will write and ask them to give you a job. That's what it is, allocation. So the man placed the allegation, and the Oshiomhole now fled up and called them, they are the house of thieves and criminals. So remember, in that committee meeting, whatever he's doing there is representing the Senate as a body. So whatever he says there is for the Senate. That's the truth. If you as a member of an organization, You are sent on a mission to represent the organization somewhere. Anything you are doing there, you are doing it as the organization, right? Until when that function closes, that's when you become your own person again, yourself. As Adams Oshiomhole and his crew are in that committee, interfacing with NNPCL for them to account for the 210 trillion as per the audited report, he was representing the Senate. So anything he says there supposed to be owned by the Senate. That is what it is. Except he said there, this is my personal view, then that's a different issue. That's how organization function. But in Nigeria, it's a different case. What happened? Because these guys in the Senate, in the National Assembly, they know what happens between them and NNPCL. Even the money they are looking for now, if they begin to open up who are involved, it will shock you. If Meleki had to decide now to open up that this is what really happened, this is where this money went to and all of that, you will be shocked. People that will be involved in this whole thing, or their companies, or their wife companies will be involved, or their sons' companies will be involved in this whole racket. That is why when it comes to the time of exposing people, you will hear off your mic. You will see a whole lot of reactions. But what did the Senate do? They swiftly threw Adams Oshiomhole under the bus. They came to the floor of the Senate and disowned him that everything he says there is his own personal responsibility, that this is not speaking on behalf of the Senate. Really? Why was he there? Was he there in his personal capacity or his capacity as a member of the Senate? That is the question. So, but they threw him under the bus. That is how Nigeria works. They sacrifice you for any little thing. They sacrifice you. That is why things doesn't work. Was what Adams Oshiomhole was saying, was he right or wrong? He was saying the correct thing. They need to account for this money. He said he doesn't have the powers to declare him dead or alive, that they should arrest him dead or alive. Adams Oshiomhole is not asking them to go and arrest him. He's making recommendation to the committee that these guys need to be found dead or alive. That is what he was doing, in expectation that the committee will now furnish their recommendations to the committee of whole, the whole body of the Senate, and they now pass the resolution. If they support all the recommendation, they take it clause by clause and then agree on the final decision. And they are telling him that it is the Senate president, it is the leadership that will determine if there will be arrest. Adams Oshiomhole is not asking police to go, and he's making his own contribution to the committee, that the committee should be able to demand his arrest, dead or alive. That's what he said. So he knows he cannot give that order. He knows it. So it's a recommendation. Because after every committee, oversight sitting, they report back to the National Assembly as a whole. And then they will be able to harmonize this whole thing and take a position as the Senate. That is what it is. So why are they so quick to disown him? Because what the NNPCL man was saying about how they bring their children to get job offers and all of that, obviously is true. So they want to cover that track. If you go to NNPCL and audit employees now, you will be seeing the names of those members. The names of their children are there. So it's not new. I don't know. It's not new. We know all of this. It's been like that for ages. That is why in 1999, when democracy came, President Olusegun Obasanjo appointed only Minister of State and said he will be the Minister of Petroleum. And people were happy. Now that the president is coming in, there will be transparency in the oil sector. Because the sector is bedeviled with opaqueness. Nobody knows what happens there. They don't produce the audited report annually as they're supposed to do. Nobody knows what is going on. They allocate oil block to their crews and all of that. Nigeria don't know what happens. The point now is, since the president becomes oil minister since 1999, he did it. I can't remember. I don't think Yar'Adua did it. I can't remember about Yar'Adua's case. But Jonathan also, did it. Appointed Desi Anamadek as Minister of State Petroleum. Buhari did it. Appointed Timbi Sriva, as Minister of State. Now Tinubu also taking the same route. So Obasanjo created the presidents. All the presidents are going through that direction. But the question is, what changed? Nothing changed. The corruption growing deeper and deeper and deeper, involving the president. Because the president is supposed to, create, transparency in the system, supposed to make the system better, but seems like it's making it worse. So NNPCL, we know them as an entity that is bedeviled with, opaqueness. That is the point. So for Adams Oshiomhole to be speaking up on behalf of Nigerians, and now instead of senators to, support the cause and be able to hold NNPCL accountable, at least for the first time, what were they doing? They pick the person who is fighting for the citizens, threw him under the bus. If they silence him now, that's the end. You won't hear anything again. These things you are seeing, they are ups. You won't hear anything again because Adams Oshiomhole is speaking out. is now being silenced. By the time the Senate has disowned him and requesting him to apologize to NNPCL, the same people they are probing, they are asking him to apologize to them. And withdrew what he said about that the organization is an enterprise of criminals and thieves. So what remains? That's the end. The case is closed. So anybody waiting to see anything that happened in this NNPCL issue, might they go and sleep. Nothing is going to happen. They have finished the probe. And the reason the probe will be cut short is because a lot of beneficiaries from NNPC are in the National Assembly, obviously. The man who is making an allegation from NNPCL that they are offering, sending letters of their children to be given job offers, the man is saying fast. He can't come and prove that allegation before them in their own building. No, he knows what he's saying. So they don't want to be exposed that they are among those who their children are, giving jobs, because it will go deeper into contracts. It will also go deeper into those that have oil blocks. Do you understand? By the time they start uncovering all these things. So that one is as good as dead. Nothing good will come out of that at the end of the day. So, but I'll use this opportunity to say to Senator Adams Oshiomhole, continue speaking up, continue doing what you are doing. You're a labor leader. You fought for the people in the Labour Congress there. You were a good governor, when you were governor also. I know you may have your mistakes here and there, but don't be dissuaded with what, your colleagues are doing. They are just trying to silence you so that you don't continue to expose them, you don't continue to speak. You can see what it is. You spoke in the name that you are defending the entire Senate based on the allegation coming from NNPCL. The same people you want to defend are the same people throwing you under the bus. They are the same people who is trying to behead you now as it is. So look at it. They disown you. You are just alone. So we know National Assembly and how they behave. Are you talking about Senator House of Rep member Jobre from Kano when he spoke about budget padding? What happened? Suspension. For how many days? How many months? I think is it 60 or 90 days? They suspended him that time. What he said, is it true or false? It was true. There was budget padding by National Assembly. 100% true. It's not story. 2015 is true. But what happened to him? He was suspended, silenced. Senator Abudu Ningi also said his own. What happened? He was silenced and suspended. Senator Shehu Sane, when he spoke about their pay, what they receive as pay, what happened? They almost cut his head off. So, National Assembly itself is a kind of an organization that is bedeviled with opaqueness, right? Secrecy. Anything you say as a member, they feel that you are trying to expose something about them. They cut your head off. That's exactly what they do. So I don't know why it is so. This is a public institution that's supposed to be transparent, that's supposed to be open. Citizens supposed to know what is happening because it's the representative. They are the representative of the people, unquote. But in reality, they are not. They represent themselves and their family. They don't represent the people. Because if they do, the people were asking for what will be in the electoral law. They did not do it. They even did protest. They did not do it. The people say stop approving loans for the president. They did not listen. They didn't. So they are not representing the people. They are representing themselves. That is the way it works. So it's unfortunate that they are sacrificing Oshiomhole and push whatever he has said on his head, not on the National Assembly. Politicians, be very careful when you deal with them. So it is what it is, and it's unfortunate that they took that part. I think they're supposed to have supported him and then press NNPCL to provide reasons and details of where these fundings, have gone to, even if it's not up to 210 trillion. At least whatever we can trace and track will be useful. I remember, I think the GMD, the former GMD NNPCL, I think it has history with EFCC on this same issue. There are also people that was taken then concerning this whole NNPC stuff. So I think EFCC is supposed to pick up the audited report done by this reputable organization. Is it PwC or something? And then they look into it, begin to fish out where the gray areas are, and start tracking, where these whole monies are going to, and which individuals and which agencies, which companies, and all of that. The way they track Abubakar Malami to find all those companies he was using and buildings he was buying, they should track this whole thing and uncover them. This money is too much. If we have 210 trillion in our coffers, we shouldn't be borrowing much loan as it is today. So that's why people should take some of these things seriously and be able to address them. So guys, it is what it is. It's Nigeria for you. Nigeria is a cruise. Those who want to do what is right are being, subdued. They are being, extinguished, as the case may be, because they love the status quo. The status quo benefits them. That's why they want it to continue. So anytime you want to do what is right within every government institution, they will suppress you, they will hunt you down, and they will make sure that they push you in a corner where you can't even breathe. That's exactly what it is. So now with what has happened in the House, the objective of this whole thing is to, create, will I call it fear on Oshiomhole, to know that whatever he's saying, they will disown him tomorrow. So Oshiomhole will now be more cautious. Even issues he need to talk, he may decide not to talk because he doesn't want to fall out, with the Senate and the leadership. Because if you are in good terms with the leadership, something happens positive for your end, they can put you in GC committee, they can, do anything around you and make you more successful and all of that. Remember Natasha Oti's case, remember that story that time. So the point is that Adams, don't change, be who you are, do the right thing, don't bother about what happens around you, just do what you need to do, represent your people very well in that place by speaking up for them. They say that the minority will have their say, but the majority will have their way. Keep speaking. One day, what you have said will be written on the wall that you said so. That's the point. So, guys, I don't know what you think concerning this whole, drama, in the National Assembly. But I'll put it to you that all those things are photo ops. At the end, let's wait and hear what happened to Southeast Development Commission. Let's wait and hear what happened to NNPCL. Whether you will hear any other thing going forward. Let's wait and see. When the matter will be resolved, it will be off camera and there'll be settlement. That's what it is. That's the way it works. And it's unfortunate. So I'm going to let it slide there. So whatever you have to say concerning this whole thing, kindly put it at the comment section and we'll continue to debate over all of this. So at the end of the day, Nigeria is the main issue. Nigeria is the main objective of everybody to see it work. We have seen a lot of dramas, on camera, probes on camera, even when some are going through EFCC trial, how they will collapse in court. Remember the NDDC man that collapsed in the Senate hearing? Till today, what happened? Do you hear anything again? It's gone. Do you remember Accountant General that was coming with a wheelchair? What happened? It's gone. Do you remember Olisameto that collapsed in this thing, brought him with his stretcher or what? Do you hear anything again? It's gone. Do you remember Senator Akpabio's case when he was governor with EFCC? Do you hear anything again? It's gone. So many of them, uncountable numbers. You hear it today, shout. The next day, it dies. And that's the end. Nigerians are put in the dark. Nigerians will move on. It is what it is. So, guys, I'll see you in my next video. But before I leave, if you are new to my channel, please kindly like and share this video. And also subscribe to my channel and put on the notification bell so that when my next video drop, you'll be among those that will be notified. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you for watching this video to the end. And thank you for supporting my channel and making it to grow. I love you all. See you in my next video. I'm signing out.